Testing. Test. Okay, we're okay. It's still alive. Hey friends, welcome to Tablenauts. I'm Doolin, and today I just want to talk about some of the games that I've been playing in November solo. And actually, I'm going to talk about every single game that I've played solo, ranked from my least favorite all the way up to my most favorite. And so if you want to go ahead and skip to some of the better recommendations, you can, but I would say most of these games, with the exception of the first game, are games that I would recommend to everybody. Number one is a game that I actually don't have the box to show you because I don't own it. I only own the app, which was available for $1 on the App Store. And I figured, why not give it a shot? Because I hated this game when I once had it, and maybe playing solo on the app is the way to go. I've actually heard that. This is Elder Sign, which Elder Sign was a game that I deemed as just Cthulhu Yahtzee, not something to go back to. Didn't really enjoy it when I played it with friends, when I had it about 3 years ago. And I'm here to say that while the app is maybe... I don't even want to say it's not good. I still don't like it. I'm almost tempted to say that I wish that I hadn't spent the $1, but again, I'm still glad that I spent the $1 because it wasn't just 3 years ago Doolin that didn't like this game. It's still me. and I think that my original thoughts on this game still stand. It's roll dice and hope that you get the things that you want, and if you don't, bad things happen. And you know, while other games can be boiled down to that, this one doesn't help me get lost in it. I'm not a huge fan of Cthulhu-y themed things. I know that that's a weird thing to say when Death May Die is one of my favorite games, but like, listen, it's just, Death May Die is something you get lost in. Elder Sign is not, and this is not a game that I really recommend to people, but if you like it, hats off to you. It's $1, at least it was when I bought it on the App Store, so you can play it, but I will not be playing it anymore. Number 7 is a game that I also got an app for, but I played it like in person. You need an app in order to play the solo mode, and I like that. I like the aspect of that. I just don't think it's a game that will come out very often, and I'm talking about Raiders of the North Sea, which is a game that people seem to really, really love. But for me, this was just... It was a solid 7 out of 10, I think, which is a game that I will come back to. It's good, but it's not one of my favorites of all time. It's a good game, but not great, if that makes sense. That being said, I've only played this solo, and so I'm wondering if in person, blocking each other, that race to get to certain things before other people might actually be exciting when I'm with other people. In fact, Kenny has said that he wants, he thought we would play this at some point. So I'm hoping as a crew it'll be better, but solo mode, which is what I'm basing all of these rankings off of, it's okay. It's okay. It's good, not great. Next up is a game that I played solo after playing it multiple times cooperatively and even competitively with my family and with my friends. And this game I enjoy, but I enjoy more not solo. And I tried it solo specifically because the Brothers Mirth talked about how much they like playing, or Nick likes playing the solo, and so I figured I'd give it a shot, and it is really good solo, but this is just a really good game overall, and that is Turing Machine at 7. Turing Machine is a game where you basically are trying to discover a code. You're breaking codes by putting in these 3-digit codes and hoping that they work for all of the parameters set on all of the obstacles around. I'm butchering this teach, but just know that it's a very mathy game, which I really enjoy. Some people I know that turns them off heavily, but it's a very puzzly, very mathy game, and I like this most, I think, cooperatively. And cooperatively, you can play through the, not app, but the website that a QR code will lead you to. And I like this game that way because even people at the table who aren't very good at math can feel like they're a part of the group and can win this. I know that for our group especially, I love math. My dad is an engineer. My brother-in-law works at a bank. And so we're like, if we're in a group of 6 people playing this competitively, everybody else at the table is just kind of like, and we're like racing to the end. And so playing it cooperatively, all of us can feel like we're part of the crew and we can win together rather than always losing. Once again, I love Turing Machine. I think I gave it an 8 out of 10, but for solo mode specifically, I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10 as well. I liked it, but I think that there's just so many good solo games that I won't come back to it very often. Next up is a game that we actually got sent to us by Plaid Hat, and I didn't know that it had a solo mode until I saw it in the back, and I actually really like this game solo. It's puzzly, it's thinky, and it's one of those that I have a trouble like actually winning because it's really hard to get good at this game, I think. And you just looking at it, you'd think, no way this is going to be a hard solo mode, but it actually is, and I'm talking about Hickory Dickory by Plaid Hat Games. This game immediately drew me in a long time ago when it was sprawled out on a table at PAX, I think last year, and I saw the Azul-y, like puzzly aspect to the Azul tile puzzly aspect of the game, and then I saw like the cute little mice meeples and the clock that you ride in order to select your actions, and it's not only really cute but also just really interesting in terms of the game mechanics. I think it's well thought through. As far as the solo mode goes, it's really a race to a certain amount of points. You're not beating or playing against anybody else, but you're also drawing or rolling dice and determining spots that will be blocked for you, and also if you're on them can cause bad things to happen, can cause you to drop tiles and all of these different things. And so I really like this. I think that it's one of those games that is really good to play solo to learn the game. And so if you're learning the game like me, I love to have the game just set up and go through a couple of hands if it's a multiplayer game. And this one, I just played it solo a few times and I felt like I enjoyed it, and I ran it back like 2 or 3 times, and I enjoyed it enough to where I was like, okay, this is a game that I think these certain people in my life will enjoy. Now, do I think it's better solo? No. I think this is better as a group, but I don't think it's a bad solo mode at all. I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. Very good game. Thank you again, Plaid Hat, for sending us it. They did not pay us or anything like that, so I can still give my thoughts on like that. But good game. Enjoyed it. Hickory Dickory. Next up is a game that I have been excited about ever since I backed it on Kickstarter a long time ago, and then when it arrived, I actually put off learning it for a while because there were just so many other games to get to, and this is Deep Rock Galactic. If you don't know this, it's actually based off of a video game that is super fun to play, and we've actually streamed this video game with Jash and also with Billy from Second Star to the Left. Unfortunately, apparently that Jash has made me aware that that footage is gone. I don't know where it went, and we're really sad about that because we wanted to use that footage for a future video, but what are you gonna do? But Deep Rock Galactic is super great, and we love it. Not only the video game being this really fun, like cooperative experience where you're dungeon diving and pushing to get these specific things, specific parameters for each mission, and the longer you stay, the worse things get, the more monsters get sent at you. The board game does an incredible job of giving you that feeling while also being a unique experience on its own. You still play as one of the 4 classic characters, and you each have asymmetric abilities. You're playing cooperatively on this board. Unfortunately, there's not like a 3D, like vertical aspect to this game, but there's still a sense of that because there's still like these spots on the map where there are just deep caverns that you have to find unique ways using the abilities of others to get through or get around. The solo mode to this game, there's 2 ways to do it. You can either play as 2 characters. You can actually play as all 4 characters if you want, or you can play by yourself with this little robot guy who follows you around, and he can't get hurt, but he also can kill things. And just reading the rules of that, it seemed like it would make the game really, really easy to break by just kind of like hiding while Bosco takes care of everything since he can't die. And so instead, I played as 2 characters, and I thought the solo mode was fantastic. I personally think that this game will be best at more than solo, and I know I've said that about quite a few games. Know that eventually we're going to get to games where I won't say that about, but the solo mode in this was still fantastic. If you're looking for that Deep Rock Galactic feel, I think that, I'll go ahead and say it, the solo mode in this board game is way more fun than playing the video game solo. So if you don't like playing the video game solo, know that this is a option for you. it's played, there's actually like a campaign that you can go through, but really it's more like Zombicide, where there's missions that you can select, and you don't have to have any prerequisites for those missions. There's nothing that you have to save from previous missions in order to play the next one. But if you want to, there is a campaign mode that you can save everything and continue to upgrade yourself and get hurt, and basically it's once you die, you're done. You got to start all over again, which is a very interesting way to do a campaign, but cool. My third favorite game solo this month is actually from a studio that creates one of my favorite solo games I've ever played, and I'm talking about Rock Manor Games. And this was also sent to us. Thanks to the thanks Rock Manor for sending that to us. But this is Maximum Apocalypse Wasted Wilds. This is a game that came out. Well, the system has been around for a little while, but this came out this year, and they sent it to us to take a look at, and I love it. Personally, I thought it was going to be, based off of the cover and based off of some of the things I was told, that it was going to feel like a Borderlands, Mad Max style game. And while there is aspects to that, I think what I came away from this thinking is it feels like Fallout, the board game. And I know that there is a Fallout, the board game, but I've never played that. Know that this, I think, though, is just a really good version of that. Like wildlands, explore the map, find different things, interact with the different tribes, and try to get them to like you or dislike you. Like, all of that is packed into this hour to hour and a half experience that you can have with this. And I'm playing this as a campaign. There's a way to do that. In the same way with Deep Rock Galactic, you can choose to not do that, but I'm choosing to do that with this. And I personally think, sorry, Josh, I played this with you, but I think solo is the way to go with this game. Number 2 is a brand new game, and this was also sent to us, and thank you so much, Incredible Dream, for doing this. It's a 1 to 2 player game, and while I've never played it at 2, I can tell you that I loved it at 1, and that is Kinfire Delve. This is the first of 3 expected games, I think, that will come out over the next year, and man, I can't tell you not only how beautiful the production is, but how fun and fast the game plays. There was a game that I kind of lost myself in this year called Slay the Spire, which is it's a card-driven game, but it's specifically on it's mobile only, or actually not mobile because it's on like Steam and stuff. Like, it's only digital. It's only available digitally, which this gives me the feelings of that. Jeff from Fossil and Meeple actually told me that first. Went into the game kind of with that, so like keep that in mind. I went into the game thinking that, and I left the game completely agreeing with him. And Kinfire Delve is so fun. I love the thinkiness of each turn, and this is why I think it might be best solo, is that it can be a little AP inducing, but AP is fine when you're by yourself. You can take all the time you need and think through each of your turns, and that's what I love about this. It's a dungeon delver, but in a deck, and it doesn't take up too much space. It's this small. It's beautiful. Please check this out, because I would be shocked if this doesn't hit for a whole lot of people, especially solo gamers. I would give this solo mode, right now, I'm very high on it. I've played it 3 times. I've won once. I've lost twice, and I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Great solo mode. Love it so much. Highly recommend this. And then lastly, the number 1 game that I've played solo this month is a game that should not surprise most of you, because you knew that it was something that I had permanently on my solo board that I built last month, and I've loved going through this. I will say that now that I'm about 10 missions in, sometimes it can feel a bit samey, and I'm not rushing through the game as fast as I was when I first brought it out, but I still love it. And I'm talking about Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion, and this is great solo. I play as 2 different characters and love it every single time I go back to it. I think that the story is just okay, but the gameplay itself is really, really fun. I'm looking forward to finishing this and then potentially getting into Gloomhaven, because many people have told me that you got to try it eventually. But Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion was my November favorite solo game, and all of these other games. If you enjoyed looking at them and I convinced you to potentially get them, let me know down in the comments, because I love hearing that. I love knowing that I have, you know, said something that convinced you or tickled the little like part of your brain that was like, I think I'll like this. If that happened for you, let me know. If there's a game that you played solo in November that you enjoyed a whole lot and I did not mention it, let me know down in the comments what it is so that I can get recommendations from you on what to maybe get next. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you all next time.